Hey, Dad, tell me a story.
What?
Tell me a story.
What kind of story you want to hear?
Like, remember that time Jensen got stuck in the trunk?
Oh, yeah, I remember that very well. You want the whole story or just the fast version?
Whole story.
Okay. Your brother was sick. He got to stay home from school and we had to carry him to the doctor. And me and your mom was pregnant with John. I believe, yeah, John. And so we were going to a doctor's appointment, and no, I'll take all that back. We had to carry Jensen to the hospital and get him checked out because he fell that morning, passed out. So we were going to Shreveport with Jensen, and he's in the back seat, and he says, "Hey, Dad," I hear him talking. Me and your mom's talking and stuff, but I hear him in the back seat, and he says, "Dad, you know that you can get out of a trunk if you're ever trapped in it?" And I know what he's talking about. There's a little tab that's in there that you can pull and open it up. Well, I specifically turned around, I looked at him, and I said, "Jensen," all I said was, "don't be getting in no trunks. It don't always work like that. You can't always get out of them. You got to be careful. If I ever hear of you getting in the trunk, you're going to be in trouble." That's what I told him. End of discussion. I stopped talking to him. I didn't say anything else about it. Went to the doctor, come all the way back, and we get back to the house. I had to run to get his prescription. I dropped your mom off and him, and put him in. So for whatever reason, me and your mom was inside talking in the back room at Momo's house, and Jensen keeps interrupting us while we're talking, and he's asking for his toy, and he kept saying, "Oh, Mom, where's my toy at? Where's my toy at?" And your mom said, "Son, I don't know where it's at. Quit interrupting. You're being rude. You're gonna get in trouble. You're gonna get a spanking if you're not careful," because he was just being disrespectful. Well, he disappears. It's the middle of summertime, probably, I know for a fact it was 98, 99 degrees outside. It was very, very hot. And it was up kind of the middle of the day, about 11, 12 o'clock. So up on that hill over your grandma and grandpa's house over in Bonham's Landing, that sun just beats down, and the lake's right there, and if the wind's not blowing, it can get really hot.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Jensen I'm not looking for Jensen. I'm not paying attention to Jensen. Jensen has disappeared. Y'all played outside all the time. I never had any problems with y'all running off. Y'all was never in the lake or anything like that. So I had nothing on my mind to do with Jensen whatsoever. I walk out to the car to go get his prescription and Vivian. And it's in your grandpa's black car, the Lincoln. The one that, I was driving. I walk outside, walk around to the driver's side of the vehicle, and when I put my hand on the doorknob, I hear a thump. It sounds something muffled, like somebody hollering. And I knew, there was no question in my mind. I knew exactly, I went straight to that conversation in my head of Jensen telling me that he can get out of a trunk. And I knew exactly what he had done. I just knew, there was no question in my mind. I'd never missed a lick. I didn't stand out there and wait a long time. I didn't do nothing crazy. I just turned around and I ran back inside to the house. And I hollered at your mom. I said, "Jamie, come here, come here." And she's like, "What?" I said, "Bring your phone, come here, turn it on and record it." And your mom, she don't know what's going on. She's like, "What's going on?" I said, I put my finger up to my mouth like that. I said, "Shh." And I walk over there and I open the passenger side and I can hear him screaming in the back of that trunk. He is screaming like, "Let me out, I'm stuck, help." He's freaking out. Well, at this time, I'm thinking, in my mind as a dad, I'm thinking, this is going to be a good lesson for him. We're going to video it. And I'm going to show him that's the reason why you don't get in a truck, because it was going to be a good learning tool, a lesson that he learned, and he was probably going to get in trouble, some serious trouble over it. Well, I have a video, and I'll show it to y'all after the end of this clip, because I videoed the moment when we opened the back of that trunk. And when I tell you, that little boy looked like he'd been to see the devil. There was straight fear and terror dripping off of his face and his body. It scared us. It scared your mom, and it scared me, because I realized right then that he had already gotten too hot. That quick. He was in there probably 10 minutes, 8 to 10 minutes max. He climbed in the back of that trunk and shut the lid on himself. And that handle that you pull to release the emergency exit handle, hey, it was tucked up into the felt in the slit.
Oh, so
and he couldn't see it. And so what did he do? He completely freaked out. Freaked out. That boy had carpet burns on his back from where he had his legs up and was kicking that trunk trying to get out. He literally lost it. He even wound up using the bathroom on himself. That's how hard he was pushing and kicking that trunk lid to come open. That was probably one of the scariest moments, not the scariest, but probably one of the scariest I'd been for his health at that moment, because I realized it was very much sobering to think about that another 10, 15 minutes at the heightened state of fear that he was at, he was scared. So he was getting hot quicker. It wouldn't have been much longer. He'd have probably he'd have passed out from heat exhaustion, or he'd have had heat exhaustion and died in the back of that trunk. Because normally I'm fishing, I'm on the lake, your mom's doing something else, y'all are outside playing. So we wasn't focusing on him at all. It very well could have been a completely different story, horror story about why you shouldn't be getting in the truck. But when he got out of the trunk, the video ends, and I grabbed his arm and I was like, son, what were you doing? Like, I was scared. But normally in a situation like that, there has to be some kind of discipline that comes down the line, you know, a swat on the rear, or a punishment. Normally, as a dad, that's what you're supposed to do with your children. If you want to have decent kids and raise them to be disciplined and not be wild animals, you have to have some sort of, I believe, some sort of, not punishment, but some sort of way to grasp at, whether it be a punishment or a whipping, one of the two. I think it's necessary to have those moments whenever a child is being disobedient and not paying attention. Well, in this case, I knew without a shadow of a doubt that there was nothing that I could have done spanking wise or with any kind of punishment to help with the situation, because he had already learned everything he needed to know about that situation. He would never, ever, ever, I promise you, he will never, ever get in the back of a trunk. So, long story short, or I'll finish it with this. I went to town, and I came back. And he was okay. He didn't have to go to the hospital or anything like that. He just got a little overheated. And I made him, I walked him outside, and I should have done this in the beginning. I should have, the moment I heard him say something about the trunk and doing that, I should have, as soon as I got home, I should have pulled him out of the car, and I should have had a moment with him about, you know, the proper way to think about getting out of a vehicle. If you're ever trapped in a vehicle, and there's multiple things that you can do. And first thing is, you don't freak out. You cannot freak out. You cannot lose your calm or your cool, because when you do that, you start like, for one, you'll overheat, or your anxiety will take over, and you're fueling the anxiety, and then you're losing the ability to fight in crucial time and situation. So let's walk over to the car, and I'll show you what I taught him how to do. I had to teach him. I'll show you what happened See if we can get into your grandma's car, because I know every trunk has one. But what I told him, I said, first thing you did wrong was you freaked out. Second thing is you didn't stop. If you wouldn't have been freaking out, you could have sat back and thought, okay, how can I get out of the situation? Really think about what are the variables that is keeping me in here, other than the fact that I was a complete crazy person and shut myself in the trunk by myself. So come on. For one, when somebody posts a video or you watch a video, whatever YouTuber it is or whatever media platform that y'all got that from, I don't care. Parents, y'all need to be cautious and think about what your kids are watching sometimes, or if you hear your child mention something like that. I got some that are crazy enough to do it. So when I got back from town, I popped the trunk open. Okay? And I showed him. I said, look here, son, come here. Get in close. This tab, somebody had taken it and tucked it up into here, and he couldn't see it. And on that Lincoln, it's got a wider gap where it was just slid all the way in there. So instead of him reaching up there trying to feel for it or look to see the little slight glow in the back of it, he completely just started kicking and bucking and snorting because he got scared. I think this Camry is a little bit different. But instead of kicking the trunk that's latched, go to kicking on that back seat. Try to bust your foot through the seat if you can. But in that particular, most cars in the back, they have a little door that's right here that you can access that trunk right there. This one don't have it. This has just got the side seat right there. And in fact, I think it's got a release inside. You could reach your hand in there and grab the release and pop that back seat if you need to. By getting in the trunk, you can go through there. But on that Lincoln, it had a little door where he could have easily crawled through. All he had to do is turn around and take his foot and kick that door open, and that seat would have opened up and he could have been able to get out and unlock himself, and he'd have been able to never tell anybody anything. Second thing is that's what I told him. I told him about the back seat, and I got in the trunk. I pulled the latch down, I climbed into the trunk, shut the door, pulled the latch, and got out. Then I made him get in the trunk, and he didn't want to at first. And he had that look in his eye like he was still living out his terrors. But I knew it was vitally important to get him back in that trunk and shut the lid. Boom! I shut the lid on him, and I said, "Can you hear me talking?" He's like, "Yes, I can hear you." I said, "Do you look up and see that latch now?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Pull it." He pulled the latch. The trunk pops open, and he gets out. And then I said, "Now the next time, son, Dad tells you not to do something, I want you to think about that. If you or you're curious about something, or you need help with something, awesome. Come talk to your. I challenge any child, me, you, or yeah, me too. But my two boys and my three boys and my two daughters, come to me, even though I may be a little short with you or whatever. If you have a concern about something, or you think something's cool that you've seen, run it by Mom and Dad first, because they've probably been through something or seen something that would help you not get locked in the trunk." And we were very blessed and very lucky that we didn't lose Jensen, because I don't know what the temperature was in that trunk, but I know it was 100 degrees outside, probably 98 to 100 outside. And in Louisiana, that's a brutal, hot, can't breathe.
And that's a black car.
And it's a black car up on the hill. I mean, it was a recipe for complete disaster. And I'm glad my little boy was okay, but I'm also glad he learned a valuable lesson. And you can watch the video now, knowing what happened. That somebody just didn't lock the child in the trunk, and nobody was joking around. But that was a moment of me documenting something to show him that that's not funny, and kind of really mess with him about it. But it could have went a completely different way, and I'm glad it didn't. But now you can take this video and you can say, hey, look, you want to see what happens when you get playing around in a trunk you can't open? This is what happens. This is what can potentially happen to you. You can be completely scared out of your mind and nobody hear you, and you can die in that trunk. And so I challenge parents, make your kids watch this if they like to try things and escape out of stuff like that. Just not to discourage them from being out and having a good time and playing and using their imagination. It's not what this is about. It's about to head off any and discourage any kind of activity that could potentially get them hurt or get them in a bind, because they just simply don't know. And in this generation, in our time, we have a tendency of being caught up in my phone or being caught up in something else going on. I've got 5 kids, okay? I've got a lot going on. My wife has a lot going on. And sometimes things get a little bit out of hand. But I pray and hope that every parent can pay attention enough to know, to recognize when their child is wanting to do something that's a little bit
extreme,
crazy. But it's a good lesson to know. It's a good thing to know how to get out of a trunk if you're ever kidnapped, okay? It can happen to anybody. It could happen to you tomorrow. I hope you bite them or squall or something. But if they have a question about it, answer their question. But please let them know the dangers and the potential harm that they can be in playing around and trying to do things that just because they see somebody do it on YouTube don't mean that it's always true, and it don't always mean it can be possible based off of what you've got, your equipment and different things like that. So I hope that was a good enough story for you, and I kind of feel like I turned it into a teaching moment or a seminar, but it's not. Was that the story you was talking about?
Oh yeah, definitely. A little more than what I was talking about. But
well, I've never been accused of not having enough to say, so.
Yeah. It was amazing.
Well, I appreciate all the people that have subscribed to the channel, and man, please hit that like and subscribe button if you like this kind of content. It's just going to be country folks living, kids playing, having a good time, and just things that I like and enjoy is hunting, fishing, and being around my family, and enjoying the outdoors and in this great country called America. And so if you do like this kind of content and you want to get on board, well, like and subscribe. And if you got offended by this video or something about hurt your feelings, hey, by all means, go somewhere else. I don't care. But just if you're offended, leave. I don't want to hear about it. I don't care. So I don't care if I hurt your feelings or not. It's gonna be okay. Go drink you a Dr. Pepper and call your mom or something. I don't know. But thank y'all, and stay tuned for more video. And like I said, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you. Love you.
How did he do that? What in the world?
Mom!
Daddy.
I thought my toy was
Oh my
in here.
word.
Oh my God, son, listen to me. Hey,